T.com/extra 250. Uber Eats. Deliver with us. Limited time offer. Terms apply. See t.uber.com/extra 250 for more details.
iHeart salutes Mom, giver of life, cleaner of clothes, fixer of problems, and matriarch of multitasking with her own radio station.
We have a special gift for you. Now you can download podcasts of our shows. Listen whenever and wherever you want. It's all on demand. Just check out 969thegame.com.
FM 96.9 The Game. The home of the Knights. WYGM Orlando. WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
That is correct. We are loud, live, and local every morning, 6 to 9:30 a.m. right here on FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, HD 101.1-2. That's just on terrestrial radio. You can also watch us on social media. Just go to YouTube, search for the Open Mic live stream, and there we are live and in color. Welcome to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Joining me, as always, Adam Reardon, the Deceptive Intellect, and, of course, Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah, that's right, Mike, and it's time for everyone's favorite segment of the day, Austin Strips for the Internet. Look at this. Bro take season, baby. This one, a little tighter on the body.
I was gonna say that looks more like
because you're getting a little tighter on the body because you're a little fatter today than you were yesterday.
No, getting pumped, brother. Pumped up.
He calls it the bro tank. Mike, you remember the episode of Seinfeld, the bro or the man's ear? It's fitting like a man's ear today.
It really is. It's real tight today, I'm going to be honest. Check that out on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter if you're watching the stream.
If you're not trying to keep your breakfast down.
Remember one time I was in the Chicago Bears locker room, all right, when Rex Grossman played for the Chicago Bears, all right?
Okay.
I think they were playing the Bucks maybe, and so I was in the locker room after the game, and Rex Grossman was, he was getting undressed to get in the shower, and he had like a girdle on.
A girdle? A myrtle?
Yeah, it was like a girdle, like. He was a little soft and puffy. He had like a girdle.
Yeah, he was wearing a corset. He got strapped up in the back. It was sort of like a girdle he had on.
You're not talking about like one of those rib protectors that quarterbacks wear. You're talking about like a full on this
is a compression
shirt. Looked like a girdle to me. Looked like he had a girdle on. Yeah,
man, that's gross, man.
Anyway, that was sexy.
Oh,
Rex.
gross, man. He said gross. That's gross, man. As in Rex Grossman. Nice. A little early. Slide that one past us. That's Mike and I standing at the plate. That slider. Oh, that goes in for a strike.
Yeah.
Bat never left the shoulder.
A wild pitch like the no-hitter last night.
Oh,
all right,
man.
We want to hear from you guys. 407-916-8255. Tweet us at 96.9 The Game. You can text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. Of course, we have 3 chances for you to win $1,000 today. First chance coming up at 7:15 10 a.m. this morning, and then on the 10s throughout the day. Listen for the keyword when you hear it. Head to our website 969thegame.com. Enter that word, and you could win $1,000. Presented by International Diamond Center. We like to begin each show with our open mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. This comes from the great Peanuts creator Charles Schulz, who once said, and I quote, "Don't worry about the world coming to an end today. It's already tomorrow in Australia." End quote. Intellect? You want to take that deeper?
I don't know. I guess what he's saying there is, hey, listen, you're worried about today's issues and how bad they are. You got to remember, tomorrow's going to come. As a matter of fact, tomorrow's already here somewhere else, meaning Australia, because they're in time zone that's further ahead of. He clearly wrote that in New York City.
Yeah. Or as the great Tom Petty once said in a song lyric, most of the things you worry about never end up happening anyway.
True.
It's very true.
It's true. You think there's somebody in Australia that wrote something about, it's still the past in New York City.
All right, let's begin with, what do we want to begin? I guess we'll begin with the Magic last night. They got back to the business of doing what they're supposed to be doing, losing, and losing big, all right? The Magic's 2-game winning streak, thankfully, came to an end last night as the Boston Celtics clobbered the Magic 132-96, all right? That's what we want. Isn't that right, Magic fans? By the way, Evan Fournier makes his return to Orlando last night. He scored 18 points, 10 in the first half on 8 of 14 shooting for the Celtics. Again, that was his first game back against his former team. Steve Clifford also was back on the bench last night. He actually talked about Evan Fournier.
Yeah, no, I mean, he played well, too. So, I hope, watching their games, I think a lot because, like you said, he's been coming back from the COVID. He had been, struggling with his shooting against San Antonio. He played better. And then the other night against Portland, he looked more like himself, getting more in rhythm. It's hard. I believe he missed 11 games. And there's obviously an urgency there on their part to get ready for the playoffs. And if they're going to make a run, he's going to be a big part of it. So, listen, not tonight, but, against other teams, we'll always be cheering for him.
Okay, that was Steve Clifford. The Celtics, they are in a playoff battle. They are now tied for 6th in the Eastern Conference standings. Of course, you want to finish in the top 6 to avoid the play-in game, so they're tied with Miami at number 6. They're also a game and a half behind Atlanta for the 5th spot. Where are the Magic now in the worst team standings? Do we have that? Can somebody call up the standings and find out where the Magic are in the Tankathon standings? Because we want to know exactly where they are. Are they closer to the?
Well, the good news is they've got a letter next to their name, which I believe means they're definitely already out of the playoffs, which is great. That's the first step there. What I have here is 21 and 45, which puts them still 2 games in front or behind in our
right
estimation
now,
of Detroit.
Yeah, I'm looking,
tied with Cleveland.
Yeah, so it looks like they're tied for 4th right now. Worst
1,
record.
2, 3. It looks like they're in. Are they in a 3-way tie for 4th now? Is Oklahoma City in there as well?
Yeah, Oklahoma City is in there as well.
So it's Houston, Detroit, Minnesota are your bottom feeding 3, and then you have Cleveland, Oklahoma City, and Orlando tied for 4th. What do the Magic need to do to get? Where's Minnesota and Detroit compared to the Magic?
Minnesota is 20 and 46.
So the
they're
Magic
one full game.
Okay, so that's attainable.
Yeah, it's doable.
Attainable.
I mean, I look at the standings today. I'm so disappointed. I remember when we were this bad. This is where we were supposed to be, and then all of a sudden, it all fell apart and they started winning 2 games in a row. Who does that?
Yeah. Plus, that they could easily they play the Timberwolves one more time, so they could obviously lose that. And then when you look at their other 5 opponents, 5 of their 6 opponents are vying for playoff position, so they should lose at least those 5 games, and then it'll be a tankathon against the Timberwolves.
Listen, the Mo and Mo show are not going to allow a loss to the Timberwolves. I can tell you right now, the Mo and Cole show. They're going to be fighting hard for that win.
Mo Wagner had 20 last night.
The Mo's combined for 39 points.
Yeah, Mo Bamba, 19 points, 15 rebounds, his second straight double-double. You got to be happy about that, Austin.
Absolutely. I'm a Mo hype train guy, whether it's Mo Wagner or Mo Bamba. I'm just happy that it is Orlando Mo, okay?
Ooh, Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used that two days in a row.
Oh,
that is correct.
Mike, get on that. You should know what you should do. You should copyright that and tell everybody you can. Orlando.
Yeah. Hey, that's a great idea.
Pretty sure I just named your next column.
Orlando.
By the way, real quick, did you guys see the replay of? All right, so John Means, Baltimore Orioles All-Star pitcher, he got a no-hitter last night. All right. But he would have had a perfect game, except for in the 3rd inning, he strikes out. I don't know who the batter was. Strikes out the guy, and Pedro Severino, the catcher, can't handle the ball, so it rolls to the backstop. Runner gets on, so that ruins the perfect game. Do we have the highlight of that?
The 1-2 pitch to Haggerty, swing and a miss, but it gets by Severino, and Haggerty's going to reach on a drop third strike. And a 1-out base runner for the Mariners, their first of the game, and it comes on a devastating breaking ball and a swing and a miss by Haggerty, but it went right through the 5-hole of Pedro Severino.
Severino. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, isn't he?
Well, it's funny. You've just made me think of something that I've never thought of. The perfect game is not a pitcher's award. It's the team. It's a team award.
It is absolutely a team award.
I mean, we always associate he pitched a perfect game. No, a perfect game has to have everybody play perfect. No errors in the outfield. No passed balls there by the catcher. No other issues there. I mean, the pitcher is just part of a perfect game. And so we've always attached the perfect game to the pitcher, but it's a team. And Severino cost his team a perfect game. He cost himself a shot at being a part of the perfect game.
Mm-hmm.
He's part of a no-hitter, which again, there's how many no-hitters there been this year? 3 already,
this is
right?
The 3rd, yeah.
Yeah, 3 already. That was the 6th no-hitter in Orioles history, but there's only been 23 perfect games in the entire history of Major League Baseball. So, yeah, that was a big deal.
You know what the best part about that stat is, though, is he still gets credit for the strikeout. So one of his 12 strikeouts was a pass ball, and the guy reached anyway.
You think Severino, does he go to bed last night feeling bad? He's got to, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even though I was, sort of making light and saying, hey, it's a team award, he cost himself at the end of the day, that pitcher's name is going into the annals of history, but now it's not.
There's only one guy who screwed up.
Yeah.
And it was him.
Who didn't have? I think the pitcher still had a perfect game. You know who didn't have a perfect game? Severino. He's the guy who didn't have the perfect game.
All right, straight ahead, what do we want to talk about? Well, I'm going to try to come up with a spontaneous text question on a very meaningful birthday today. That's next on Open Mic. Austin Pistolka, he just put up a blog. What's going on with the Dwayne Bacon bobblehead? What's happening here?
So Dwayne Bacon got a bobblehead, and it is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. Obviously, everyone knows that bacon is one of the greatest things to ever be created. Well, it's Dwayne Bacon in a bacon suit on top of a frying pan.
Okay.
It's. I am so happy that the Orlando Magic were like, we have a guy named Bacon. We know exactly what we must do.
If you buy a Dwayne Bacon jersey, does that mean you're bacon wrapped?
Yes. Yes, it does. Hell yeah.
What if Dwayne Bacon is a vegetarian?
Oh, that'd be so
or
funny.
vegan.
Man,
Or
the irony.
Or he doesn't eat pork.
Oh, gosh, there's so many what-ifs here.
Yeah.
If he was vegan, he'd have to change his name to Dwayne Beyond, as in Beyond Bacon.
Beyond Bacon?
Beyond Bacon, yes.
All right, today is May 6th. Am I correct? Yes, today is May 6th. That happens to be my mom's birthday.
Aww.
May she rest in peace. Helen Bessie Como was born on this day long ago. I don't exactly know the year, but she raised 7 kids. I've talked about her many times. Without the help of a husband who left the family to run off with his mistress, Jane, to L.A. I think I was 7 years old at the time. No child support for Helen. No moral support. No nothing. And Helen raised us as best she could. She worked all the time. She didn't come to our football or baseball games because she was always trying to do something to make ends meet. So in honor of Helen Bessie Como, my mom, and her birthday today, I want you to give me spontaneous text question of the day.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
I want you to tell me a special memory you have about your mom, all right? It being Mother's Day weekend also coming up this weekend. Just a special, can you guys come up with a better idea for a spontaneous text question having to do with moms, since we do have Mother's Day coming up?
That's a good one, because I had one pop right into my head as you were saying this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, when I've always been into sports, and and as I was getting into soccer, I was trying to get my brother and sister to play with me out in we had a side yard. We didn't have a backyard. And neither would play with me, right? They wanted me to pay them to play, right? They were name, image, and likeness, way early on in our lifetime, and I was like, no, I'm not paying, and I was really upset because I wanted somebody to play with me, right? I wanted to play soccer in the side yard. I wanted to practice. I wanted to get good, and nobody would help me. Mm-hmm. And my mom, literally, I'll never forget this. She put on some old cleats that were in the house. And she came running from behind the house, and when she popped out from behind, she was running out, trotting out onto the field and stuff. I literally died laughing because and she's sitting there, she's like, "What? I'm here to help. I'm here to help." And I couldn't stop laughing because the way she was running, and she had these cleats on, I had no idea what to do. But I remember, I'll never forget her putting in that kind of effort to say, "All right, your brother and sister won't practice with you. I'll come practice with you." And we never ended up practicing, probably because she wouldn't know how to kick a ball.
You were laughing too hard.
I was laughing too hard, but I'll never forget her just saying, look at him out there. He's upset." I was very upset, that nobody would help me, and she came to help, and so that was.
And then your siblings probably wanted to come out and play too, didn't they?
They were probably wanted to be out there just to laugh at mom coming around the corner wearing cleats and soccer shorts. I mean, it was funny.
Austin, what memory do you have except for your mom being hot?
Well,
when you were in
there is
high
that.
school?
Wait, what?
So I told you about the Zach Wilson thing.
Yeah.
So
you weren't here that day?
No,
I was not here when Austin was talking about how hot his mom was.
I wasn't talking about how hot my mom was. I was saying I sympathize with Zach Wilson as a son of someone who has a hot mom. I
Mike,
know that this victimhood.
Have we verified this? Have we verified the hot mom? Austin's
Stacy Pistolka, at least, her Twitter picture, she looks hot. Yeah.
Oh, here he goes.
She's got Twitter?
Yeah, my mom has Twitter.
Yeah, she tweets at us all the time.
She likes just about every tweet that includes open mic on it. So, but the thing, I have way too many memories to even begin to try and narrow it down. But I think the thing that I appreciate most about my mom is that, so my mom suffers from Lyme disease, and what that basically means is that she can have a day where she's really good and upbeat and everything's great, but if she overextends herself, she drives too far, she is yelling, cheering us on too much, the next couple days are going to be pretty rough for her. Bad headaches, exhaustion, all that sort of stuff. And she never skipped a beat. She never missed a wrestling meet. She never missed football games. The amount of things that she went to that she didn't have to, because we knew that for the next week it was going to be taken out of her. She wasn't going to be able to get off the couch because of her Lyme disease. She still went. She still did things, and I mean even as things move forward, she still makes these efforts that she doesn't have to make, and I am so appreciative of that and everything that she does.
All right, we want to hear your favorite mom memory on this Mother's Day week. 50857, text them in. Who was the FSU quarterback who claimed to have had Lyme disease a long time ago? Remember he got into that incident? Was it Wyatt Sexton? Was it Wyatt Sexton?
Yes, because he went nuts. He went crazy.
Yeah, and plus he just gotten back from a concert or something.
Some of these EDM festivals.
Oh no!
Yeah. I was sleeping outside on the floor, and I got Lyme disease.
Whatever happened to Wyatt Sexton? We need to. I'm gonna Google him during the break. See whatever happened to Wyatt Sexton. Speaking of Florida State, former Florida State coach Jimbo Fisher says he's going to beat Nick Saban's ass, and that's a quote. And you know what? I believe him. I'll explain next on Open Mic. Open Mic, the Last thing I can find on Wyatt Sexton, the former Florida State quarterback, who purportedly had Lyme disease back in the day. May 7th, 2019. I can't call up the story. It's in the Tallahassee Democrat. But the headline is, former FSU QB Wyatt Sexton accused of battering Lyft driver.
Oh! That's the last thing that's been written about
Battering
him?
a Lyft driver?
Yep. That's what it says.
Yeah, what's the FSU quarterbacks? That's their
go-to?
Yeah.
Didn't Jameis Winston get in trouble for assaulting a Lyft driver?
He groped a Lyft driver. He didn't batter her.
I just meant keep your hands off the Lyft drivers, will you?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter doesn't matter what kind of legs it is. James Winston's grabbing them.
Oh my God.
Crab legs.
We're fantastic today. We're amusing ourselves today.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jameis Winston, his former college coach, Jimbo Fisher, making a little news out in Texas. So he was speaking to the Houston Touchdown Club on Wednesday. And according to the audio obtained by the Houston Chronicle, Fisher took a little jab at Nick Saban, the Alabama coach. He was asked by one of the members of the Touchdown Club. You know how these Touchdown Clubs work. They have a little, Jimbo Fisher probably gave his little speech, and then they open it up for questions. So one of the questions was, what's it going to take to beat Alabama other than the retirement of Nick Saban, who, of course, is 69 years old? All right, so the quote was from Jimbo Fisher. All right, so the question, what's it going to take other than Nick Saban's retirement to beat Alabama? And Jimbo Fisher's quote was, quote, "We're going to beat his ass when he's there. Don't you worry about it. We're going to beat his ass when he's there. Don't you worry." All right? That's what he said. Then he went on to say, once he was talking about how much he admired Nick Saban and what Nick Saban has built at Alabama. And he went on to say, quote, "Eventually that's going to be us. I respect everything they do and how they do it, but we can do it just as good or be just as good or better, and we will," end quote. That was Jimbo Fisher. Now, I'm not saying Jimbo Fisher's ever going to win 7 national championships like Nick Saban has done during his career, but I will say this, and I said this when he took the Texas A&M job. I think Jimbo Fisher is going to eventually win a national title at Texas A&M. Again, they were this close to making the college football playoff last season. What were they, like 9-1? I think they finished number 4 in the final college football playoff rankings. So they were a hell of a team last year. Now, they weren't as good as Alabama because Alabama whooped them last year. In fact, since Jimbo's gotten to Texas A&M, he's 0-3 against Alabama, been outscored 144-75, including last year, the 52-24 loss to Saban Cyborgs. So, again, Jimbo Fisher, when you look at the recruiting rankings, we know the guy can recruit. We saw it at Florida State. Look at the recruiting rankings of late, and he's right up at the top of the recruiting rankings. Jimbo Fisher's going to get there at Texas A&M. I don't know if it's going to be this year. I don't know if it's going to be next year. But Jimbo Fisher is building a powerhouse at Texas A&M, and eventually he's going to knock on the door and win a national championship at Texas A&M, just like he did at Florida State. Thoughts?
If the question is when Nick Saban is still at Alabama, I think it's going to be really tough because the West, we know that there's only one team that we trust year in and year out to possibly run that gauntlet and then beat whoever comes out of the East in the SEC title game, and that's Alabama. LSU has proven that they can do it here, there. Texas A&M has never proven that they can beat LSU and Alabama in the same year and then move on to the SEC title game and beat Georgia or Florida, whoever comes out of the East. So at this point, it would help a ton if Nick Saban were to finally go, you know what? All right, I'm done here. And then Alabama slides back to the rest of the pack. If that happens, then yes, if Jimbo Fisher continues on, because he's at a school with a lot of money, he's got all the things that you want to build a national championship contender right there at Texas A&M. It's just, he's in the West. LSU is going to have really good teams year in and year out, and then sometimes great teams. And Alabama's always going to have a great team. Can he run that gauntlet with Nick Saban in the West, and then, oh, by the way, beat a Kirby Smart loaded team or a Dan Mullen coach team in the SEC title game to put himself in that national championship contention? Right now, I'd bet no. But when Nick Saban retires and that path gets a little bit easier, then I throw him in. Then he's as good a bet as I think Ed Orgeron would be at LSU with no Nick Saban in the conference.
Well, to me, he's a better bet than Ed Orgeron. And again, Ed Orgeron won the national title, but Jimbo Fisher is a really good football coach. He's a really good X's and O's guy. He's been a coordinator. He was Nick Saban's offensive coordinator when LSU won the national championship. Ed Orgeron's just he's the cooking monster.
Oh, he's going to
what Ed Orgeron.
Well, I guess both are national championship head coaches, so
I won a national championship, and I had some cookies with it.
But I would say this, neither one of those guys would be the first guy to the mailbox to send the enjoy the retirement card to Nick Saban should he decide to hang it up.
Yeah. I wonder where Nick Saban, obviously 69 years old, he says he has no plans to retire anytime soon, and he probably won't. So the question is, when he gets to be 70, 71, 72, does he lose a step? He certainly has shown no indications of that yet. But again, back to Jimbo Fisher. How many times have we talked about it? If Florida State had just kept him happy, they would have avoided the mess that their program became. If they'd have just kept him happy.
I don't think they could have. I think as college football continues to grow and schools continue to spend, Florida State could have never spent the kind of money that Texas A&M can spend. And I think eventually it would have happened that there would have just been a bigger, better job than Florida State and because of the money that's involved. Because the ACC contract, though really good, is an SEC good. And when you get caught in the slow lane nationally, as the rest of college football has to the SEC, it's really difficult, with the exception of Clemson, and then Ohio State. But outside of those two teams,
why can Clemson spend the money
Clemson? But remember, Clemson struck gold with Dabo Swinney early, and so they've been able to sort of like reap the benefits of that now. I just think that long term, I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe they could have kept him there.
Jimbo, I think we're seeing it with Aaron Rodgers right now and the GM of the Packers. All right, Aaron Rodgers just wants to feel what's the word? He wants to feel appreciated. All right, and he wants to be able to. He wants his GM to give him what he wants. I think that's what Jimbo Fisher wanted at Florida State. He just wanted to feel appreciated, and when he asked for something, he wanted it. He wanted it. And there was a rift between him and the booster club guy who was controlling all the purse strings. So I think that was the issue. And lo and behold, after Jimbo Fisher left, guess what Florida State did? They restructured the way their booster club works, and now the booster club president doesn't get to control the money because he didn't get along with Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, and if he'd have continued winning there, he probably wouldn't have left either. I mean, again, we're looking at Nick Saban right now, and the question with his retirement is, when does somebody get so bored of winning all the time that they just go, that's it, I'm done with this game.
Yeah.
You imagine being at a blackjack table going, I've won too much money. I'm ready to quit now. What am I here for?
We do have a thought-provoking daily poll on this. Do you believe Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher when he says the Aggies will soon beat Nick Saban's ass? You can go vote at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. Straight ahead, should NFL teams be obligated to pay players who suffer season-ending injuries while working out away from team facilities? The NFL says no. The NFL Players Association said, hold on here now. That's next on Open Mic.
96.9 The Game FM.
Bench wants him to go. Dribbling between his legs. Taco attacks the paint. Turns, gets Bamba up in the air, steps through, and scores. And the Celtics bench goes bananas.
That was Taco Fall last night, taking your boy to school. Austin Pistolka, a little finger roll for Taco.
Right. The big man with the finesse. And the hot handles dribbling between his legs.
Right?
Let me tell you.
They were showing the highlight on SportsCenter last night.
Is that the defense that Steve Clifford's always frustrated with when it comes to Mo Bamba?
That's correct.
Dude, you just let a 7'12" guy ISO you and just abuse you.
Go between his legs. Yeah. Yeah. All right, your first chance at $1,000. That's coming up at 7:10 a.m. this morning, so get ready for that. Make an appointment throughout the morning, 7:10 a.m., 8:10 a.m., 9:10 a.m. on this very show. You have a chance to win $1,000. Our spontaneous text question in honor of my mother's birthday today. May she rest in peace. And also in honor of Mother's Day weekend coming up. Your favorite memory about your mother. You can text those in to 508-57. Where do we want to go with this segment? I'll tease this, so let's start with this. All right, so the NFL yesterday reminded teams that they are not obligated to pay players who suffer an injury away from the team facility. This is an issue this week in particular, and it's an ongoing dispute now with the NFL and the NFL Players Association over in-person participation in off-season workouts. Obviously, NFL teams want their players working out at the team facilities. The players are using COVID, I think, as an excuse for not wanting to go in the team facilities. All right. So the NFL sent a memo to its teams yesterday, which was prompted by several prominent players who were surprised by media reports earlier this week about Denver Broncos offensive lineman Jawan James, who tore an Achilles tendon this week while working out on his own and is likely to miss the entire 2021 season. NFL contracts have long classified such injuries as, quote, non-football injuries because they happen away from the team environment, and they are not covered by typical injury guaranteed. As a result, the Broncos could withhold James' entire salary this year, which is more than $10 million. $10 million, which would have been guaranteed if the injury had occurred at the Broncos team facility. The translation is, hey, if you... And again, if this were me, I'm working out at the team facility because I'm not going to risk the $10 million or however much my contract is worth. All right, so this is a big contention now between the NFL and the NFL Players Association. I want to get you guys' thoughts. Here's my thoughts, all right? My thoughts are this, all right? Obviously, it's a contentious issue, but I'll just use me as an example. All right. And again, I'm not a professional athlete. It's much, much different. But I'm doing the show from home. All right. I'm doing the radio show from my home studio. All right. Adam and Austin are in the radio station right now. So if I get up from my home studio, all right, to go get some coffee, all right, and I slip on the floor and, break my leg and I'm incapacitated, all right? The radio station's not going to pay my medical bills, all right? But if I slip at the radio studio and, maybe I'm out of commission for a while, I'm probably going to get workman's comp. So, again, that's just my simplistic answer to what's going on here. And plus, say a player tears his ACL while playing pickup basketball during the offseason. Does that constitute working out? I mean, you're doing something physical, But I don't want my players playing pickup basket. I don't want Aaron Rodgers playing pickup basketball during the offseason. What's to stop a player from cloaking the fact that he was playing pickup basketball and just said, "Yeah, I was doing leg lifts," or I was running and I tore my ACL. So, what do you guys think about this?
Well, I think there's probably a legal answer, and then there's the moral answer. And I guess legally, if an NFL team wanted to stand on this and go, "Hey, well, you didn't get hurt in our building, we're not responsible," they may have a leg to stand on. I think the moral issue then becomes what you do now may impact your free agent viability, your free agency viability in the future. How you treat players today may impact how other players around the league and the Players Association sort of paints you in that light.
But what if the entire league... I mean, that's why the league sent out the memo to all the teams. It sounds like they're trying to get all the teams to sort of band together here.
What's that called? Collusion? Is that called collusion? I believe. So, if I were an owner in the league and this guy was working out, keeping his body in shape during these times that we're trying to convince people to get vaccinated so that there isn't the spread of this disease that could kill people, could kill your relatives and stuff. If these guys are at home working in a safe environment and they get injured, I think the moral obligation is to pay him. That's the moral obligation. Now, you can get your lawyers to meet with their lawyers and everybody lawyer up and see where you stand on this in the end. But what I'm saying is it'll only take one or two owners that say, "Listen, I would never treat an employee like this."
You're just gonna pay the guy the $10 million without doing any sort of investigation to find out.
Obviously, that part. Now you ask what keeps a guy from cloaking it? Something called insurance fraud. I mean, it's probably a federal offense or at least a felony to lie about how you were hurt, to collect medical insurance, or collect monies for this. Now, again, if the guy hurt himself snowboarding and said, "Hey, I was pumping iron," trying to get, that's different. I'm talking about, let's just take the guy at his word. He was working out, trying to keep his body in shape for the upcoming NFL season, not wanting to be around a facility at this time that you can't guarantee everybody is vaccinated and all this stuff. Again, Mike, you're right. You can bring your lawyer and meet with their lawyer, and you can battle it out in court. But believe you me, when I'm a free agent and I'm the hot free agent offensive tackle, and I got my choice between a team that's treated its player like this and another team that says we would have paid him, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. One that values their employees.
Well, here's the other issue, though. I'm not saying you don't value your employees, but there are some employees that maybe you value more than others. Maybe you, like for instance, all right, there are some employees that you would trust to work out on their own, and you would trust to do the right thing, and you would trust to work at home because they're hard workers and they're going to do what they're supposed to do, all right? But there are some employees where you say, "You know what? I don't trust this guy to work out hard. I don't trust this guy."
Then why'd you sign him? Why'd you sign? What team is trusting a guy? What team is signing a guy to a $10 million contract they don't trust to work hard or trust to?
Do you know how many teams have weight clauses in their player contracts because they're trying to keep players in shape during the offseason? There are a lot of teams that don't trust.
Have you ever seen
players.
A guy cut in the NFL because he didn't make weight?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
The answer to that's no. We've never seen a player
first
cut.
Of all, you don't know that. I'm sure there have been. I'm again probably not first round draft picks.
Yeah,
but there's probably been some players cut because they showed up heavy and out of shape. And here's the other thing: there's a reason you have strength and conditioning coaches and these army of nutritionists and whatever at the team facility because they know, or at least they should know, the best way to work out, the safest way to work out. Whereas these players, and again, maybe some of them have great personal trainers, maybe some of them don't. So again, there's a reason that you have your strength and conditioning staff at the team facility to work out the players safely.
Would you feel differently if we know, like, and we're throwing all these hypotheticals out there, that this player and the strength and conditioning coach have had contact throughout this offseason and they had kept in close contact and said, hey, I need to work on this, and the strength and conditioning coach says, hey, do these exercises and whatnot. Would you then feel more obligated to pay if maybe
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yes.
So if he was if he was essentially working from home, I mean, Mike, you've participated in meetings, sales meetings and stuff, and never left your living room. So it is possible to work from not being in the building and still be an employee, an actual employee. So I think that the moral obligation this guy was doing, at least on the surface, we'll find out more, but as of right now, he was doing all the things that you're asking an employee to do, and he got injured in that act. And so, therefore, I believe you are morally obligated to pay him. You can get some legal wrangling going on. We can get Morgan & Morgan versus Dan Newland, ding, ding, ding. And we'll figure out who's got to pay. But I think on the surface, if this guy is doing something that was required of him for his job, just not able to do it at work, like we all do with these Zoom meetings and whatnot, then I think you're morally obligated to pay. But again, I think that the league recognizes there's a loophole.
I think it should be on a case-by-case basis. I don't think you should just blanket pay these guys when you don't know exactly what they were doing. Again, I would need to do my due diligence. I'd have my on-staff NFL investigator investigate how this guy got hurt.
No, I agree with that. If you got hurt skateboarding, like, hey, my kid was skateboarding last week, and I thought I was going to try it, and I dropped in on this half pipe, and I broke my leg. That doesn't get covered. But as the story stands right now, it says the guy was working out. I'm going to take all these reports at their word. And he was working out because that's what you do during this time. And right now, people don't feel comfortable going into buildings. Mike, you haven't been back in this building in a long time. There's a big box out here. People want to throw in the dumpster because you can't come get it.
Yeah, but it's not that I don't feel comfortable coming in the building. It's just I get an extra hour's sleep when I stay at home.
Maybe you should look inward at how you prep for a show then to get that extra hour of sleep.
All the motivational. And Mike does it from home so he can sleep an hour longer. Where's the work ethic from this guy? Where's the work ethic from this guy?
That's right.
Guy's sleeping when he could be working. What?
I already get up at 3. You want me to get up at 2 again? Good
You
Lord.
did it for years, Mike.
It's hard to give that hour back.
All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
What you reading there, honey?
It's very exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Here we go with the front page of the internet this morning. We start off on YouTube's trending page where the top 2 videos today are pretty interesting videos, I have to say. The number 1 video is a 25-second clip that is just an intro saying, welcome to our YouTube channel. And it's from the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Yes, Prince William and Kate have launched a YouTube channel, and in the first 19 hours has 1.1 million views and a couple 100,000 subscribers. Clearly, people want to know what royalty is up to, and now they're going to give it. The first ever royals to have an official YouTube channel. I know, Mike, you're very interested in what the royals are up to.
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But the number 2 video on YouTube right now comes from the Kitchen Nightmares YouTube channel. Kitchen Nightmares, the Gordon Ramsay show.
I've watched every episode, European and American.
And the American one is gross. The European
I thought
one...
Gordon Ramsay was the financial guy.
No, that's G. Gordon Liddy.
No, that's Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Gordon Ramsay is the...
G. Gordon Liddy's like a politician.
No, he was a Watergate conspirator.
Gordon Ramsay is the Hell's Kitchen guy, master chef, he world famous.
Probably my favorite celebrity of all time.
He's the idiot sandwich guy. He yells at people and call it like the famous clip of him on Hell's Kitchen where he puts 2 slices of bread around a girl's head and goes, "You're an idiot. You're now a sandwich. What are you? An idiot sandwich." So he's mean, but people love it. But the video that is making waves it's titled "When the Food is Straight Up Bussin'," which for those who don't know, it's good. It's bussin' respectfully. So this is a compilation of all the times on Kitchen Nightmares when the food was actually good and Gordon Ramsay actually enjoyed the food, which is not often on the American version of Kitchen Nightmares, to say the least. Bussin'.
My kid, my 15-year-old, all day. That's bussin'.
That's right. That's bussin' respectfully.
Taryn, you don't know what bussin' is. That's what I had to do to school, okay? You little spoiled brat. You know, we're having to get up early, I had to walk to the bus stop to get bussin' to school.
Right. That's right.
Drop me off down the street. Don't even drop you off down the street. The bus takes you right to the front door. Right? Bussin'. Never even taken a... I don't think my kid's ever taken a bus anywhere.
Oh, man. You got to change
Field
that.
trip, maybe. Field trip to school.
That's right. Happy birthday today to a man who many claim is still the sexiest man alive. It's George Clooney.
George Clooney.
No arguments here.
George Clooney is he 59?
60.
He's the big 6-0 today.
All right.
60 years old today.
Remember when he got his break on The Facts of Life?
I do not.
Yeah.
On The Facts of Life?
Yeah. You don't even know what The Facts of Life is.
No, I haven't lived long enough to learn those facts.
Burt Reynolds. Remember when Burt Reynolds got his break on Gunsmoke?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Final thing today. I don't. You guys are just getting really old on me. I don't know. I have no comments.
Remember when
Gunsmoke.
Jesus got his break on on the Real Housewives of Bethlehem?
Oh man. Final bit of news comes from a bit of panic, if we're being quite honest, coming from the Chinese space people. I don't know what they're actually called, but
we have astronauts, Russians as cosmonauts. What are Chinese astronauts?
Chinese space people. I don't really know. But they sent a rocket up into space, and the thing that, gets the rocket going,
the booster,
and normally it falls back to Earth and it lands in the ocean and everything's fine. Well, things are not fine because this booster
landed on Earth.
It made it into space, and it's in a low orbit, and
Could come down?
It is going to come down somewhere on Saturday. They don't know where.
What?
This thing is, I am dead serious. This thing is 100 feet tall, and it is going to crash into Earth somewhere. Some are speculating it might even hit places where people live in North America. Yes, this is a real thing. It is on the eastern side. It is either going to land in the ocean right next to the U.S. or it is going to land somewhere along the coast of the U.S. Some experts...
Let's just hope it's not filled with a new virus, okay?
Oh, goodness.
I've battled my whole life to get to things. If a Chinese booster rocket lands on me on Saturday, I'm going to be so upset.
For anyone who is concerned, it is believed that it will break up into a number of pieces. Some of them will...
so like buckshot now. This is great.
That is correct. It is, but the whole big 100-foot thing isn't going to come crashing into buildings. But there is still possibility that the shrapnel could end up hitting places. So, but... we should know before it lands where that's going to happen.
Hopefully it lands somewhere in the Atlantic or Indian Ocean.
Hopefully.
Right? So
that's the front page of the internet today.
I wanted to get to this story real quick. All right, so we've talked a lot over the last couple of weeks about the European Super League in soccer that is now at least temporarily defunct. All right, now there is a proposed worldwide Super League in golf that's being backed by Saudi Arabian money and a lot of it. All right, so the Daily Telegraph in London reported that this league... originally, it was called the Premier Golf League. I don't know if it's still called that, but I think it is. All right. So the Premier Golf League is prepared to offer fees ranging from $30 million to $50 million. This is per year, by the way, to to all the marquee players in golf, including Dustin Johnson, Justin Rose, go down the list. The Telegraph said that Phil Mickelson, who at age 50 is, again, he's not even a factor. He's number 115 in the world. But they're offering him twice that much money to be the, quote, de facto leader of the rebel golfers, all right? So they want Phil Mickelson essentially to organize the golfers and get them into this league. And there's been talk about this for more than a year. But I guess the Saudi organizers of this league recently set up shop in Jupiter, Florida. Who lives in Jupiter? Tiger Woods and many other professional golfers. So the Saudi organizers have set up shop down in Jupiter to begin negotiating with golfers. Now, Rory Mcilroy, he is not in favor of this new league. In fact, he was asked about it yesterday and said this.
People can see it for what it is, which is a money grab, which is fine if that's what you're playing golf for, is to make as much money as possible. Totally fine. Then, go and do that if that's what makes you happy. But I think the top players in the game, I'm just speaking on my own personal beliefs. Like, I'm playing this game to try to cement my place in history and my legacy and to win major championships and to win the biggest tournaments in the world. I mean, that's why I'm playing this game. Golf has been very good to me, obviously, over the years. I mean, I think you all know my feelings on it, and I'm very much against it. And I don't see why, anyone would be for it.
I can see why somebody would be for it. The $50 million a year guaranteed without having to win a tournament. That's why people would be for it. And again, we talked about the PGA Tour is obviously worried about this. We talked a couple of weeks ago about how the PGA Tour just started this player impact program where they're putting $40 million into a pool that is going to be distributed to the top 10 players who move the needle in golf based on different metrics, all right? Still, a $40 million bonus pool is minuscule compared to what this new league is offering the new league is offering each golfer $40 million to come play in their league. And again, I hope the PGA Tour is able to fend this off, but I can certainly see why golfers would be interested in this. Couldn't you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to this. How much money is enough money for you? And then also what Rory mentioned is, does your legacy have a price tag? And
okay, but here's where he's wrong about that. Okay. All right? And again, I want the PGA Tour to survive. I don't want this to happen. But the legacy in golf is majors, all right? The PGA Tour has already come out and said, hey, if you play in this new league, you're banned from the PGA Tour. Well, guess what? The PGA Tour doesn't run the Masters. The PGA Tour doesn't run the PGA Championship. That's the PGA of America. That's not the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour doesn't run the British Open. That's the Royal and Ancient. The PGA Tour doesn't run the, what major am I missing?
U.S. Open.
The U.S. No, that's not the PGA Tour either. That's the USGA. These players could still play in all of those events, all of the majors. Now, they won't be able to play in the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and that would suck for the golf fans in Orlando. But I don't think that's going to affect the legacy of golfers, is it?
No. Now, again, if that stands to be true, if these players can go over to Dubai and play in this league, and then
it won't just be in Dubai. They're going to have tournaments all over the world. They'll have tournaments in America. Maybe they'll have one in Orlando. I don't know.
And they can still compete in these majors and chase that sort of history, and they don't have to basically choose between money and legacy. Then, with all due respect to the PGA Tour, all I'll say is this: is that somebody's built a better mousetrap, and you can never be upset. With the guy who created the car, and the guy standing around selling horses is like really upset with that guy. Like, hey, what is this thing? What happened to good old horses here? No. Somebody built a car, okay? And so horse sales are going down. They are going down, down, down. You got 1 horsepower. This guy's got 10 over there, okay? Inside that little machine. And so they build the better, mechanism. And we're just, we love the PGA Tour. That's what we've always known. But if there's something better for players out there, and it doesn't impact, if in fact they can do this, make $20 million, and then still compete in those 4 tournaments that they want to play in every single season,
and I believe they could still compete in the Ryder Cup as well. I don't know how that is determined, but I think you could still play in the Ryder Cup. It doesn't matter what tour you're on, I don't believe.
Be an absolute slam dunk if I were a player, because the only thing that would keep you from doing that is remember what FIFA was threatening these players and these club teams that, listen, if you play in this Super League and you break up the Champions League and what UEFA's put together, then we're going to ban you from the World Cup. And I don't know if they were ever going to be able to do that. Sort of like this may be an empty threat, but here's what I do know about money from over there. That's real money. They got that money with the oil and stuff.
They have like $350 billion worth of money over there, according to this story.
This isn't the what was the football league that was here in town that shut down after 2 weeks?
The Alliance. This isn't the Alliance of America.
Nobody's going to an NHL owner asking for a loan here. They can fund this thing for a while.
Yeah. All right, we're going to let's push sound off back a little bit so we'll have more time for that. We'll do that at 7:30. Straight ahead, I have another NFL story I want to get to. That's next on Open Mic.
Now, here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nation.
I'm just going to come back and play because I love the guys. I love the Green Bay fans. But his rift isn't with the fans nor the players. It's with the front office, So will he just swallow his pride and come in? Maybe. But I don't see that happening.
That was former Green Bay Packers quarterback Brett Favre talking about current Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, and he was talking to ESPN Wisconsin yesterday, and he said he doesn't see Aaron Rodgers coming back and playing for the Packers. He said, in fact, he also said he thinks Aaron Rodgers would sit out the season before he came back and played for the Packers and their current management team, which includes GM Brian Gutekunst. Brian Gutekunst, I'm going to go with. All right. So, in fact, Aaron Rodgers dislikes Brian Gutekunst so much, it's being reported by the Athletic's Bob McGinn that Rodgers often refers to Gutekunst as, quote, Jerry Krause in group text messages to his teammates. Writes McGuinn, according to sources, Rodgers has mocked Gutekunst in group chats with his teammates in Green Bay by referring to the GM as Jerry Krause. The late Krause, the general manager of the Chicago Bulls during their run to 6 NBA championships, was loathed by Michael Jordan for some personnel moves with which Jordan disagreed, end quote. Does this mean Aaron Rodgers thinks he's Michael Jordan now, for crying out loud? I hope not.
Well, he's the Michael Jordan of that team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he certainly is that, even though he only has 1 ring and Michael Jordan had 6. McGinn also writes that Rodgers is disgruntled and wants out and won't return to Green Bay as long as Gutekunst remains the GM of the team. Well, I have a very simple solution to this, all right? If it's as easy as getting rid of Gutekunst, then get rid of Gutekunst, for crying out loud. You know my feelings on GMs. I think it's the most overrated job in sports. Hell, you could put me as a GM, and I can miss on half of my draft picks and draft Jordan Love too, for crying out loud. Get rid of Gutekunst if it's that easy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all on board. Listen, all the fans and all of Green Bay, except for the front office, are on Aaron Rodgers' side here. Okay? Let's just cut this GM, all right? I don't like him. I don't want him. I want Aaron Rodgers to stay, okay? That's what I want.
You dislike him so much that you're an avid Packers fan and you don't even know how to pronounce Gutekunst's name.
Listen, if I start pronouncing his name, I'd say some things that won't be allowed on air, okay? Because I would intentionally screw it up because he's the reason Aaron Rodgers is leaving. I don't like him.
Again, we see it all the time in pro sports. The NBA teams fire coaches all the time. And a coach, in my opinion, is more important than a GM. I mean, good Lord, just go get a new GM. If you want to keep Aaron Rodgers happy and he can't play for Gutekunst, go get somebody else. I'm not one of these. Again, he's the he's the best quarterback in the league. He's the league MVP. He always has his team in contention, all right? And he's the reason that team is in contention. It's not Gutekunst, all right? So why not just get rid of Gutekunst? Pay him his contract buyout and get rid of him. If in fact Aaron Rodgers, if that's the issue, right?
Unless you
have a problem with getting rid of Gutekunst?
No, but if you're Aaron Rodgers, what if you're really kind of like, all right, my time here in Green Bay's done. I'd really like to get out of the cold.
Maybe that's not the problem.
They call his bluff. Like, hey, we're going to fire, Gutekunst. And he's like, whoa, you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
Don't be rash here. Hold on.
But
could you just trade me to a warmer city? Would that be easier?
Yeah, but the text message thing is the thing that really makes me go, okay, it's not Aaron, it's not Green Bay, it's just this guy, because the whole text message thing, calling him Jerry Krause and everything, absolutely makes me believe that his problem is with the GM and the GM alone.
There's also a story that Aaron Rodgers is telling potential free agents not to sign with Green Bay because he's not going to be there. I mean, that's pretty bad when you're telling players that could help your team not to come, and you're calling the GM Jerry Krause, mocking him to fellow teammates. I mean, it sure seems like.
All right, so now I'm back on board with the fact he doesn't even want to be there, because if the issue with this Jerry Krause is that,
That's Gutekunst.
Yeah, no, I know, but he's calling him Jerry Krause, is that he's not making moves that help the team, blah, 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 blah. Now, Aaron Rodgers is out there telling guys, saying, hey, listen, I'd love to play with you. Just don't sign here, because that's not where I'm going to be. Because if there's potential that they're going to bring in guys that help, but he's saying, no, don't come, because I want to go somewhere else. It sounds to me like he's ready. He's just ready for a new chapter. Maybe originally it was.
So my theory's correct.
Yes, I think originally it was Gutekunst but then once he wrapped his brain around the idea of not being in Green Bay anymore, and like, hey, this is where I've been my entire career, and he started thinking about other opportunities and where this. The back end of his career could be spent, looking at Tom Brady going, you can have success elsewhere. Let me find a landing spot. The Dolphins. I don't know why people keep mentioning the Broncos. I don't think they're that close, but I will say
the Raiders.
I will say this that I mean again, the Dolphins to me make the most sense if he wants to win right away. But I do believe what Mike said is true now, that his mind is sort of made up on wanting to go somewhere else.
Yeah. So anyway, that is the story of Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Brian Gutekunst, and Jerry Krause. Straight ahead, we're going to do a little sound off. That's coming your way next on Open Mic.
Hey, this is Frank Kelly.
That is the Sound Off. Sound Off brought to you by Mother's Day. Win big this Mother's Day by entering for a shot at $1,000 on our website. Just enter your info, share the link, and get an extra 10 entries if your friends submit an entry as well. Make Mother's Day special and win some cash for the special mom in your life at 969thegame.com/contest.
Sound off! Sound off! The 1-2 pitch to Haggerty, swing and a miss, but it gets by Severino, and Haggerty's going to reach on a drop third strike. And a one-out base runner for the Mariners, their first of the game, and it comes on a devastating breaking ball, and a swing and a miss by Haggerty, but it went right through the 5-hole of Pedro Severino.
That would be the only base runner in the game for John Means, who had a no-hitter last night. Man, it is tough to see when legitimately the only thing that goes wrong in a perfect game is one pass ball on a strike 3. What do you feel about it, Mike?
Well, Pedro Severino, the catcher's got to feel bad. I mean, he cost the guy a perfect game. A no-hitter's great, but there's already been 3 no-hitters this year, all right? There's only been 23 perfect games in the history of Major League Baseball. By the way, Means becomes the first pitcher to throw a 27-out no-hitter in Major League history, where the only batter reached base on a dropped third strike. So it's never happened before. Poor Pedro Severino. He's got the goat horns on today. Hee-haw, hee-haw.
Is that a goat noise?
I don't know.
That was a donkey.
Does anyone know what a goat sounds like? It's like, that's a sheep. That's no.
I think it's a goat too.
Yeah, a goat kind of is in the same.
Yeah, that was just a bad mistake. A bad mistake.
I don't know, what do I know about animals? I don't know, what am I even chiming in here for?
Incredible.
Sound off! Sound off!
That was why the guys on the bench came out and questioned me about, that Liam was going to be the runner. And I said, yeah, I know. So we didn't know it. But I know because if you look at the other guys that you would double switch out of the game, I mean, those are not guys. Vaughn was the guy to come out. And I thought we had to get out of the thing. Kopech done a great job, but his commander at the end. So we got the out in the ninth. But I'll reread that situation. I'm guessing the rules better.
All right, so
that's all one clip?
That's all one clip. So that's
Tony La Russa. Has he been drinking again? Good Lord.
So,
oh my God.
White
It's like
Sox,
Joe Biden when the teleprompter goes off. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Hold on.
White Sox manager Tony La Russa, in last night's game, they went into extra innings, right? Well, the new rule is that you have to put the previous batter on from the previous inning on at second base. That happened to be his closer, which he could have subbed in. He could have just subbed in a pinch runner in order to get someone else on the base pass, but he did not because he didn't understand the rules of the game that he manages. What? This isn't a new rule.
Well, he's 95 for crying out loud. Good Lord.
The fact that guy gets to the right dugout every day is like a win in and of itself. Here's the thing. There's a lot of rules. Like, businesses change their ruals all the time. And you really don't know about them until you violate one of them. And then they go, hey, you can't do that. Wait, we can't do that anymore? I don't listen, He knows now. And more importantly, people around him know now. Because here's the thing. Not only did he not know, apparently people around him didn't know because they didn't go, hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony, what the hell are you thinking?
We can actually put a fast guy out there. When we get a base hit, we win this thing here. So
at least he has the excuse of being 95, whereas these other guys don't.
He's 76 years old. There's some spry 76-year-olds.
I'm listening to that clip there, and I'm going, that's the worst editing I've ever heard in my life. I feel like that went like 7. I didn't even know what we were talking about. I'm glad you cleared it up for me. I still don't understand the rules, by the way.
You still don't know?
Yeah, that's all right. I'll have to watch it back.
Sound off. It's kind of, coming full circle. You go through this NFL career and you start as a young guy, come in. Tom kind of showed me the ropes. The competition between us was awesome. Really made me grow as a rookie and a young player. And so that's kind of what me and Trey we'll mold our relationship into that.
That's Jimmy G talking about new rookie quarterback Trey Lance and how he's going to mentor him like Tom Brady mentored Jimmy G.
Sure he
Oh,
is.
you don't believe it, Mike?
No, absolutely not. Again, if you're Tom Brady didn't exactly mentor Jimmy G, for crying out loud, either. And if you're Jimmy G, I mean, Jimmy G is still in his prime, for crying, at least in his physical prime. I wouldn't mentor him either. Now, if you're Ben Roethlisberger and this is your last year, yeah, maybe you mentor your successor. Or if you're Tom Brady in Tampa and you know you're going to be around only a year or two more, yes, you mentor Kyle Trask. But Jimmy G, no way should he mentor Lance, right? Would you?
No, because the guys you mentioned either are on their way out, or even if he says, "Hey, listen, Tom really, took me under his wing." Tom Brady's job security in New England was at 1,000, or at least so he thought. Now there was this point where Bill Belichick wanted to go ahead and move on to Jimmy Garoppolo, but turns out Robert Kraft quickly ended that discussion. So I don't think Tom Brady ever felt threatened by Jimmy G. Whereas if I'm Jimmy G, guess what? Your job is threatened, my man. Your job is threatened. So you are making the bed for somebody else to sleep in, okay?
Sound off. I think he's doing a great job. I used him as an example this morning of how things can change in the NBA quickly. 10, 12 days ago, he wasn't on a roster. Now he's, playing major minutes here for the end of the season. So I think what these opportunities do is they give him a chance to try out for everybody. He's smart. He's a good competitor. He brings a lot of energy to the floor, and he's doing a good job so far.
That's Coach Clifford talking about Mo Wagner and how he's doing a great job on the short contract that he has right now. Mo Wagner, are you jumping on the Orlando bandwagon that as long as we have a Mo, we got no problems?
This team's still got plenty of problems, okay? They could have Mo Cheeks, Mo Harkless. They could have Larry Moe and Curly on this team.
Yeah, too often they play like Larry Moe and Curly.
Right.
Okay,
that's what they look like sometimes. Listen, it's a great story. It's been a lot of fun, but let me just say this: that if you have too many Mo Wagners on your team and not enough Maurice Cheeks, your team will be Cheeks. Okay.
Sound off. That's sound off for today.
That is the sound off for today. Straight ahead, Jimbo Fisher says he is going to beat Nick Saban's, and I'm quoting, beat Nick Saban's ass. And you know what? I think he might. That's next on Open Mic.
96.9.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi. Some people call me the Bulldog. Sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Joined, as always, by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect.
Oh, he's not doing it. He's saying no, sir.
And Austin, I hesitated. I gave him his chance. Also, Austin Pistolka.
I'm out.
The Sultan of Sound.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. Game day payday, your next chance at $1,000 coming up at 8:10 a.m. this morning. Just listen for the keyword, then head to our website, 969thegame.com, enter that word, and you could win $1,000 presented by International Diamond Center. Our spontaneous text question of the day.
Spontaneous text question of the day
Is in honor of my dear old mom. Today would have been her birthday. It's still her birthday, but she's no longer with us. May she rest in peace. Helen Bessie Como was her name. She was born long ago. She raised 7 kids without the help of a husband who left the family to run off with his mistress to L.A. No child support, no moral support, no nothing. And Helen raised us as best she could. All right, so paying tribute to Helen today on her birthday. Also paying tribute to all the moms out there because Mother's Day's coming up this weekend. We want your favorite memory about your mother. Text in the 50857. Somebody just texted this in. As a kid way back when, back in the day, my buddies and I were playing stickball and smoking cigarettes when a policeman decided that my mom wouldn't approve and walked me to the front door of my house to tell her. My mom said, quote, "Don't you have anything better to do?" End quote.
To the police officer?
Yeah, to the police officer.
Oh, my God.
As he's telling the story, I just pictured the officer knocking on the door, and we'll see what your mother says about this young man. And she shows up to the door, cigarette like dangling from the lip, like, yeah, what's the problem? Yeah, I sent him to the store to get me a pack of smokes.
Yeah, and a bottle of sherry to cook with. Oh, that's right. I drink half of it while I'm cooking. Yeah. Anyway, text those in the 50857 if you don't mind. We would like to read the memories of your mother. All right. So Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M football coach, he was at the Houston Touchdown Club the other day. All right. And according to audio of the Houston that the Houston Chronicle obtained, Fisher was asked at the Touchdown Club in Houston what it would take to beat Alabama other than the retirement of the 69-year-old Nick Saban. And Jimbo Fisher's quote was, quote, "We're going to beat his ass when he's there. Don't you worry." And then the crowd responded with laughter. And Nick Saban went on to say how much he respected Nick Saban and what he's built at Alabama. And then he went on to say, eventually that's going to be us. I respect everything they do and how they do it. But we can do it just as good or be just as good or better. And we will. End quote. So Nick Saban saying, hey, we're going to be the next Alabama. And we're going to beat Alabama while Nick Saban is still coaching. And he hasn't done it yet because he's 0-3 against Nick Saban at Texas A&M. I guess he's 0-4 if you count when they got clobbered by Alabama in the season opener of the year that Jimbo Fisher left Florida State. So he's never beaten Nick Saban. But he says now he will. What did you say he did on Twitter?
So he was asked about this. I'm not for sure where, but this comes from @TexAgs on Twitter. Jimbo Fisher, in reference to his comments at the Houston Touchdown Club earlier today about beating Alabama, said, quote, I wrote a check today that I have to cash.
Yeah, he did. And you know what? He will cash it. He will cash it. Jimbo Fisher is building a powerhouse at Texas A&M. Just ask Gator fans, ask Dan Mullen about the powerhouse that Texas A&M is building, or that Jimbo Fisher is building at Texas A&M. Florida got a taste of it last year when Texas A&M upset them, ran over the Gator defense last year. So, again, Texas A&M 9-1 last year, number 4 in the final college football playoff rankings. Jimbo Fisher, we saw it at Florida State. We're seeing it at Texas A&M, one of the best recruiters in the country. I'm not saying he's Nick Saban on the recruiting trail, but he's up there with the Kirby Smarts of the world as far as great recruiters in college football. He is building a powerhouse, and eventually, and I said this even when he took the Texas A&M job, eventually he is going to win a national title at Texas A&M. I don't know if it's going to be this year, next year, the year after. I don't know if Nick Saban's going to still be there because I can't read the future when it comes to how long Nick Saban is going to be at Alabama. But I'll say this. If Nick Saban's at Alabama in the next 3 or 4 years, Jimbo Fisher will still win a national title at Texas A&M. So there, Adam Reardon.
Whew, I would sell that. I would sell that only because it's not just Alabama he's got to go through. He's got to go through LSU, and then you got to beat whoever's on the East. And make no mistake, Georgia's one of those teams that that we're waiting to take that next big step. Florida, if you think that Dan Mullen's the right guy and you think that they've got Emory Jones ready to sort of step in where Kyle Trask sort of left off and learn from him and continue the growth of that football program, man, I mean, betting on anybody but Alabama to win a national championship out of the SEC just seems like difficult for me to do while Nick Saban's still there, because that is the big hump everybody's got to get over. And when you do that, you can't stub your toe on LSU or Georgia or Florida, or you lose your opportunity.
Yeah, unless they expand the playoffs in the next couple of years.
All right, there's an opening.
There's also, there's certainly been talk of that in recent weeks. The playoffs going to be expanded. So again, you might not have to win the league to get into a playoff.
So in the next 4 years, Texas A&M to win the national championship.
Yep.
I wonder. I may be in Vegas at some point here in the very near future. So I wonder if I could get that.
If you're in Vegas, if you can make that bet, I will give you the money. Okay. You can bet it for me.
All right. Yep.
Okay. All right.
That'd be nice. We'll put it in a frame. Put it right here in the. We'll put it right here in the studio, and it'll be a countdown. We'll put a countdown clock underneath it for T-minus 4 years and counting. In case of a national championship, break glass. Cash.
Yeah. Then the gospel DJs can say, "What is this doing in this studio?"
Hey, you know what would be funny if like, we're just joking, but if that were to happen, and then in 3 years Texas A&M wins the national championship, and they're like, "Praise the Lord! He left it like a donation."
Donation to the station.
The Lord. Let me tell you the story about how the Lord works. There's this ticket that's been on the wall for 2 years. We had no idea. Turns out it's now worth $50,000.